All right, I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Middleton Common Council. Today is August 15th. Hearing a bit of an echo. Do you need a minute?
You got it.
Okay. First up is roll call.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Alder Nelson,
Here.
Alder Jackson,
Here.
Alder Canairo,
Here.
Alder Mormon,
Here.
Alder Crowe.
Here.
All right. Do we have any public comments tonight? Okay, and is there anybody on virtually?
None that have raised their hand indicate that they'd like to.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, moving on to presentation, the presentation from the Clean Lake Alliance. Please come and speak.
Thank you for the invite, Mayor. My name is James Ty. I'm the Executive Director and founder of the Clean Lakes Alliance, which is a local nonprofit working on the watershed in the Yahara. So we don't work for anything outside the Yahara watershed. And it's wonderful to have Middleton as part of the watershed. Our vision is that we envision a community renowned for its healthy lakes, lands, and waters. Healthy waters equals a thriving community. Our mission is to champion our lakes and watershed stewardship for the benefit for all. We were founded in 2010. We created the State of Lakes Report, which you can find online. It's the way that the community measures our progress on the lakes, and we did not have a report like that for the Clean Lakes Alliance. We also have a very unique app called lakeforecast.org. It's the only one in the United States that combines research information, citizen monitoring, and opening and closing of beaches. You can download that easily. It's lakeforecast.org. We also do volunteer days. We will do a volunteer day every week from Earth Day all the way through the end of October with hundreds of people, almost 80 different companies, and also partner with the wonderful Middleton Parks Department. We also have given out $1.4 million in grants to local organizations. Middleton has been a beneficiary of one of those grants for Lakeview Park for the retention pond back in 2011. We also helped do some advocacy work to get your stormwater project up and running by that vote in the city council many years ago. But most significantly, the two things that we did recently is the Renew the Blue, which is the community plan for lakes, which is signed by 19 organizations, pretty historic thing. And it also proved with the scientific team that the water now entering Lake Mendota has less phosphorus in it per gallon than it did 10 and 20 years ago. So big congratulations to all of us, because the things that we are working, whether through Yahara Winds or projects out in agriculture, we're actually making a difference. We're going through a strategic planning process ourselves. And one of the things we thought of right away, and I met a very special woman that I'll talk to you in a moment about, and really, why not better to talk about watershed stewardship to learn from the first stewards of our lands. And we're going to show a video that was produced in partnership with the Ho-Chunk Nation. And it started my journey learning more about the First Nation and Indigenous people. So take a moment, turn off your cell phones and reflect.
Give me a second to make sure the audio.
I'm Representative Robert Pilot of the Ho-Chunk Nation, the people of the big voice. We've called this area home for thousands of years, but the beauty was created thousands of years before that. Let's travel back in time, way back, before Wisconsin was a state, before the United States was a country, way before Greek and Roman empires, and even before Ho-Chunk arrived to this sacred part of the world. We're here in Greater Madison, 15,000 years ago, but we're not standing on the ground. We're on top of a mountain of ice up to a mile thick. This is the Wisconsin glaciation, and it covered most of Canada, the upper Midwest, and New England, but a thaw is on the horizon. Over the next 2,000 years, we will witness the big glaciers start to melt and retreat. Where we once stood on ice is now a large lake stretching from present-day Middleton to Stoughton. Enter humans. 13,000 years ago, we would see the first human activity occurring around the shores of these waters. But the lakes hadn't divided yet, meaning distant ancestors of Ho-Chunk dwelled near a large, single water body later named Glacial Lake Yahara by geologists. But more change is coming. Moving to 10,000 years before present, we see water levels fall, separating into 4 current lakes and leaving shallow water marshes, including one that would later be turned into Lake Wingra. Along the area that the Ho-Chunk called Jope, which translates to 4 lakes, early surveyors document the Ho-Chunk producing over 3,000 bushels of corn annually in Old Turtle, 4 Lakes, and Broken Arm, now known as Middleton, Madison, and Monona. At the center of Jope, much like today, sits Lake Mendota, now known as the most studied lake in the world. The lake was once called Wakshak Ominga, translating to where the person rests. Jope was a cultural epicenter for native mound building peoples, with evidence of over 1,200 effigy and burial mounds documented in the area, a concentration that rivals any other place in North America. The water is sacred too. The Ho-Chunk, with its massive ancestral land base throughout present-day Wisconsin and reaching areas of Canada and the Dakotas and into present-day Indiana, know the water has identity, a life, a meaning, and a purpose,
2, 3.
deserving the utmost care and protection. They rely on water for fishing, wild rice harvesting, and transportation, but also treat it with a spiritual reverence as a living entity that provides so much to the people of Jope and beyond. That important relationship with water has lasted centuries and has kept the Ho-Chunk Nation from its traditional clan duties to its modern-day government as protectors of one of the most important life resources. This is why the Ho-Chunk poured tobacco for the water spirits. In return, the water protects the people. It's been 13,000 years since humans first congregated here. The future holds promise, but perhaps the past can offer lessons to how we develop relationships with our lands and waters. As we move forward to make our lakes better, we must also look back and draw upon the lessons learned from the Ho-Chunk, who knew the protection and reverence to the water would in turn lead to a thriving community.
So one of the things that the Clean Lakes Alliance has learned, and for myself, it's a journey with the Ho-Chunk. And so we are taking small steps, one at a time, listening to the Ho-Chunk, going through their process, which is different than the process that I learned and how to share stories. But I do believe that learning from the Ho-Chunk and how they view land and water, not as a commodity, but as something to be enjoyed by all, is something that we can all learn and benefit by. Some of the very specific things we've done with the Ho-Chunk since this is, they actually passed a resolution through their nation. It was unanimously passed to enter and explore a permanent structure partnership with the Clean Lakes Alliance, looking at us as a way to reach our broader community of government organizations, research, individuals, and nonprofits. You might not know this, but Clean Lakes Alliance is probably one of the largest nonprofits in the community. We have 2,341 donors last year, representing municipalities, research institutions, businesses, small organizations like Friends of Pheasant Branch. But really excited to see how we can move forward in our own journey and then spread that journey to our members and donors. One of the things that we did is I was asked by the chief of their nation to get youth involved. So we actually brought youth to Hudson Park in the city of Madison on Lake Monona, where they have 2 different sets of effigy mounds. And the students did the research, and it was a stop on our Loop the Lake bike ride. And so Ho-Chunk students were teaching and talking about the effigy mounds. And I would say almost 70% of the people who did the bike ride, which was over 1,500, did not even know what an effigy mound was, which is surprising. And also a lot of neighborhoods would come down and talk about what they've seen in maintenance and different things like that. Most recently, last Friday, I asked my friend Samantha Scanadora, who is a member of the Ho-Chunk Nation. Her brother also just became president of the Ho-Chunk Nation. And we did a tour and walk of Pheasant Branch up to the top of the knoll where the oak trees are from, looking down at the water at the bottom, and sort of looked at that land, she actually asked me to follow in her journey and actually walked into the area where the effigy mounds were, and is looking forward to working with the Clean Lakes Alliance and the city of Middleton and the county and how to better reflect our own journey to how those mounds can be maintained and flourish so that we can be protected in the years to come. The Ho-Chunk is also, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they're also on a journey, just like we are. Their process of how they communicate to the outside of their clans and their system is changing just as much as we are changing. And so it's a journey. But we did talk about some ideas, and the mayor was interested in how the city could partner. And we're looking at creating what's called the DeJope Collective, meaning organizations that are interested in their own journey join us in that journey as we create a student collective of Ho-Chunk members to guide us through their process, which is different than ours, to learn about the Ho-Chunk Nation. So we don't have anything formal set up yet, but we are listening to people who might want to join that collective of nonprofits, government entities who want to learn more about the Ho-Chunk. I've got lots of wonderful things to tell you, but I think I have 10 minutes. So I probably could take a minute or two for questions unless the mayor or Brian here tells me to cut it off and move on. Otherwise, I could probably talk for another hour if you know me.
Well, we love that passion. So thank you for bringing that and sharing the lovely video and the stories, especially with the youth. Do we have any questions from city council or statements?
I just have a couple. James, thank you for that presentation. It's always so moving when we can connect with the people who were here before we were. Do the people of the DeJope or Ho-Chunk community, do they prefer DeJope spelled Teejop?
Yeah, so the Ho-Chunk is also the Winnebago tribe.
Okay.
That's also a process that I'm learning. The correct spelling of DeJope is Teejop. They were on their own journey and learning their own language and realized several years ago. So the new correct name is DeJope.
And that's what
spelled
means Four Lakes.
Correct. That means Four Lakes.
And was the Ho-Chunk named for Middleton Old Turtle?
That is a current interpretation, I would say, of what that was. That also might change in the future.
Well, let us
but
know
yes,
if
it
it
is Old
changes,
Turtle.
because I'm on
Yes.
the arts committee and we're
Yeah.
looking for more public art. And I feel like this is a really cool option for some sculpture pieces.
Yes, and I would think there are members of the Ho-Chunk community who are doing a lot of different artwork, especially in the University of Wisconsin campus and other places throughout our community.
That would be great. Thank you.
Great questions. Anybody else?
I'm just wondering about the Joe Collective, and do you have information you can share about how a municipality can become a member?
Right now, we don't have any membership requirements. The chief has asked us to use youth. So we are going to Clean Lakes Alliance is raising funds to hire Ho-Chunk interns to work specifically on the project. The collective then could come up with ideas such as an art project and then use Ho-Chunk students through their network and their community to then possibly find somebody to do an art project or to do storytelling or to come to an event or to organize a re-blessing of the mounds. But I'm Clean Lakes Alliance and the Digital Club will be a facilitator to help Ho-Chunk tell their own story versus Clean Lakes Alliance do it. We want to gather up funds and support youth through internships to do the work.
Okay. Thanks.
More to come, I should say. How about that?
That's a great question too.
And will you come back when there's more?
Oh, great question.
Yes, I think you have a wonderful staff members that we could probably coordinate with directly. Especially, I think there's a high interest from both the Ho-Chunk and I think many people about the mounds. And I think there's some opportunity there specifically to communicate what those mean to the Ho-Chunk, but also to the greater community. I think we would want to start there before other things. Start with some things already there before creating new things.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you again for the
Thank
opportunity.
you.
All right. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda. Can you all hear me? Sometimes I'm too quiet. Okay, thanks. Approval of the consent agenda as recommended to council by committee and commission board, including the Middleton Common Council minutes of August 1st, the audit of the bills to be paid as recommended by Finance Committee, application for an outdoor amplified sound permit by Christine Rader for Gilda's Club, memorandum of understanding between the City of Middleton and Middleton Cross Plains Area School District regarding crossing guards, award of quote for debt book renewal for 2024 to 2026, CVMIC liability insurance policy renewal, and consideration and recommendation for approval to Common Council for out of cycle reclassification of the head golf professional role at PVGC. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move approval of the consent agenda with the exception of item number 4.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Mrs. Wilkes, I'll second.
Right, any discussion?
There is no discussion.
Hearing none. All those who approve the consent agenda as listed except for number 4, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. And going back to number 4, the memorandum of understanding between the City of Middleton and Middleton Cross Plains Area School District regarding crossing guards.
Madam Chair, as recommended by the Finance Committee, I move that we ratify the memorandum of understanding between the City of Middleton and Middleton Cross Plains Area School District regarding crossing guards with an effective date of August 15th, 2023.
Mrs. Wilkes, I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the memorandum of understanding between the City of Middleton and Middleton Cross Plains and ratifying as of the date of August 15th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to agreements. Agreement between the City of Middleton and Block Power for data deployment software for decarbonization projects. Do I have a motion?
Mrs. Wilkes, I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those who approve the agreement on the data deployment software for decarbonization projects, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agreement with HydroCorp in the amount of $70,608 for biennial cross connection control program for water utility. Do I have a motion?
This is an IRA. I move approval of the agreement contingent upon satisfaction of the city attorney with the contract form.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second that motion.
Did I skip one? Proclamation.
There's no proclamation.
Did I skip the proclamation?
No, I don't see one.
I don't see one on the
Okay,
agenda.
maybe it's next time.
There was one at one time. But
There was a proclamation that was on the agenda when it first got posted on Friday. The library asked to have it removed and moved to our next meeting. So the agenda has been amended to reflect that.
Sorry about that.
I asked him to help me because I'm going back and forth between the computers. So
Anyway,
thank
now
you.
we still have to take a vote, right?
Yes, we
Yes.
do. Okay, so I have Haniro made the motion. Do I have a second?
Jackson seconded.
Thank you. Thank you, Alder Jackson. All right, so all those, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the agreement with HydroCorp in the amount of $70,608 for biennial cross-connection control program for water utility satisfying the city attorney, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, moving on. Bell Farm Phase 1 City Developer Agreement. Do I have a motion?
This is an IRO. I would like to move approval. If we can get the text on the screen, please.
Okay.
So we need the one for Bell Farm Phase 1. There it is, 6 items, yes. Okay, so I move that we approve the city developer agreement for Bell Farm Phase 1, subject to city attorney review and approval with a deferred effective date of approval upon completion of the 6 items showing on the screen. And that if the above items are not completed by March 31st, 2024, then the approval is void.
Schaefer will second.
And what was the date? We said March 31st.
30.
March 31st, 2024.
Thank you, Alder Schaefer. Thank you, Alder Hanaro. All right, any discussion? All those in favor of approving the Bell Farm Phase 1 City Developer Agreement, subject to city attorney approval, but deferring until these 6 items have been met, and noting that it must be done by March 31st or voiding. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Development agreement for Pleasant Acres LLC for tax increment district number 5, assistance for Bell Farm Phase 1.
This is an IRO. I move approval of the development agreement, subject to city attorney review and approval as recommended by the finance committee.
Okay, do I have a second?
Larman will second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of the development agreement of approving the development agreement of Pleasant Acres LLC for TIF or TID number 5, assistance for Bell Farm Phase 1, subject to city attorney review and approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Moving on to Red Tail Ridge Phase 1 City Developer Agreement.
This is an IRO. I move, if we've got this showing, yes, we do. Okay, so I move to approve the city developer agreement for Red Tail Ridge Phase 1 with a deferred effective date of approval upon completion of the 8. I apologize. I'm going to go back first. I move to grant the developer's requests to do the 3 things that are showing at the top of the message. Pay 3.5% instead of 5%, pay 50% of future high road improvement costs, and provide surety for a longer than typical time. These are all recommended by the finance committee, and we need to approve this one before getting on to the actual developer agreement.
Okay. Anything else on your motion? I just want to make sure. Okay, I see, because you're moving on. All right, do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? Alder Crowe?
I just had a question, clarification on point number 2. Is that 50% they would pay in phase 1 and then the second 50% in phase 2, or is it a total of 50% spread out between the 2 phases?
Well, it's 50% of what they would owe, which is 50% of the road. So they would only pay for the east half of the road improvements.
Okay.
Misty Valley already paid for the west half.
Okay. Okay.
Great question. Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of granting the request of the three things listed for the Red Tail Ridge Phase 1 City Developer Agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously.
Now, Madam Chair, I'd like to move that we approve the city developer agreement for Red Tail Ridge Phase 1 with a deferred effective date of approval upon completion of the 8 items showing on the screen, noting that the city does not endorse the phasing plan beyond Phase 1, so that the issue of water looping can be revisited, and that if the above items are not completed by March 31st, 2024, then the approval is void.
Okay, and what was that date again?
March 1st, 2024.
2024. Got it. Thank you. All right. Do I have a second?
Mrs. Wilkes, I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the Red Tail Ridge Phase 1 City Developer Agreement with the 8 items listed below, needing to be effective by March 31st, 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to award of bid quotes. Number 1, the award of bid to North Shore Track Services in an amount not to exceed $117,820 for rail spur repairs. Do I have a motion?
This is Haniro. I move approval of the award.
Do I?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, which section of rail track is this you're talking about? Is it the spur that goes south off the rail line into the along the pond, or is it the one that goes into the industrial one on the north?
It's a great
The
question.
latter, it's the industrial
So
spur.
that goes north up towards where the lumberyard.
Process 14, yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
University Green. Yep.
All right.
Great question.
Thank
Okay, all those in favor of awarding a bid to North Shore Track Services in an amount not to exceed $117,820 for rail spur repairs, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to CSM plat, the final plat of Bell Farm Phase 1. I have a motion.
I will move that the council approve the Bell Farm Plat Phase 1 with a deferred effective date of approval upon completion of the 6 items that will soon be, there they are, showing on the screen. And that if the above items are not completed by March 31st, 2024, then the approval is void.
Do I have a second?
Schaefer.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the final plat of Bell Farm Phase 1, deferring until completion of the 6 items listed, and if not completed by March 31st, 2024 is considered void, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to final plat, the Red Tail Ridge Phase 1.
This is Haniro. I move that the council approve the Red Tail Ridge Plat with Phase 1 with a deferred effective date of approval upon completion of the 4 items that are listed. And that if the above items are not completed by March 31st, 2024, then the approval is void.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second that.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the final plat Red Tail Ridge Phase 1 upon completion of the 4 items listed on the screen, and if not completed by March 31st, 2024 is considered void, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to miscellaneous. Consideration of the City of Middleton's health insurance plan for 2024 and recommendation of plan for approval to the Common Council.
This is Nelson. I'll move approval of renewing the health insurance plan for 2024.
Do I have a second?
Mrs. Wilkes, I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just, in the personnel meeting, we discussed the desire to have a survey for the employees done in the next 6 to 9 months so that when it is time to negotiate a new contract next year, we will know if employees are actually happy with the plan or if they would like something different.
The next one update. Thank you for that. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in. Do you need a motion on this one or is it just comments?
I already did the motion.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, Candace seconded.
Thank you.
So we'll go.
All right, all those, thank you, in favor of approving the City of Middleton's health insurance plan for 2024 and recommendation of plan for approval to the Common Council, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Next is the change order number 3 for additional water main work in the downtown Parmenter Street reconstruction.
Mrs. Wilkus, I move approval of the change order.
Do I have a second?
Foreman, second.
Any discussion?
As recommended by the finance committee, we should be ratifying this because it's.
Because the work's already been done.
Is it okay if you change your?
You want to make a
Motion?
substitute motion? You feel free to make a substitute
Okay.
motion.
I'll make a substitute motion to ratify change order number 3 for additional water main work in the downtown Parmenter Street reconstruction.
This is Cole, second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving, ratifying the change order number 3 for additional water main work in the downtown Parmenter Street reconstruction, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Ordinances first reading. The first is the proposal to amend ordinance 2.341D to permit the high school member of the Workforce Housing Committee to become a voting member.
As the representative on the Workforce Housing Committee, I move to suspend the rules under section 1.07 of Middleton's Municipal Code.
This is Cole, second.
And it's for a second reading. Is that accurate?
This would make if we vote on this, it'll be fine.
One and done.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. And we have to vote on that first.
Correct.
So all those in favor of suspending the rules to move forward and voting on this, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. The voting on the proposal to amend ordinance 2.341D to permit the high school member of the Workforce Housing Committee to become a voting member. Do I have a motion?
Yep, I move approval.
Okay. Do I have a second?
This is Cole, second.
All right. And any discussion?
I just want to note that when this was brought to licensing ordinance, I just really appreciated the proposal to align this with other such committees and really appreciate our respect and concern that our youth are engaged, involved, and have a voice. So.
All those in favor of amending the ordinance 2.341D to permit the high school member to be a voting member, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations to our workforce youth who can vote now. Proposal to amend ordinance 8.111A to redefine areas within which duplicate street names shall not be prohibited.
I move we suspend the rules.
Okay. And do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second that.
Thank you. And all those in favor of suspending the rules on the amendment of the ordinance for the duplicate street names, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now we will vote on the proposal to amend ordinance 8.111A to redefine areas within which duplicate street names shall not be prohibited. Do I have a motion?
Schaefer moves.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor to amend the ordinance to redefine areas within which duplicate street names shall not be prohibited, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to ordinances, second reading, rezoning from R3A High Density Residential to Plan Development District General Implementation Plan Castle Rock Redevelopment, 6414 to 6418 University Avenue and 2009 Lakeview Avenue. Do I have a motion?
This is Nairo. I'll move approval.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of rezoning R3A to PDD GIP Castle Rock redevelopment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Recommendations and proposals, the acceptance of street names proposed in Bell Farm subdivision. Do I have a motion?
This is Nairo. I move acceptance of the street names proposed in the Bell Farm subdivision.
Do I have a second?
Mrs. Wilkus, I'll second.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I just would like to comment that this is a development that's going into District 6, which is my district, and I just want to thank the developer and the whole team for truly embracing our sustainability principles and being one of the rare developments that will help us achieve our renewable energy goal of 100% by 2050. The buildings that are going in first look absolutely beautiful. I'm eager to see you succeed in this.
Right. All those in favor of acceptance of approving the acceptance of street names proposed in Bell Farm subdivision, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to resolutions, Resolution 2024-45, amending the 2023 approved ARPA budget for funds for the scanning service for Plan Commission Files project.
Mrs. Wilkus, I move approval of resolution 2024-45.
Okay, great. Do I have a second?
Lorman, second.
Okay. Do you have any discussion or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2024-45, amending the 2023 approved ARPA funds for the scanning service for Plan Commission files, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 2, Resolution 2023-44, accepting jurisdictional transfer 374 from Wisdot for Parmenter Street from Springton Court to Greenbrier Road. Do I have a motion?
Schaefer moved.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 2023-44, accepting jurisdictional transfer on Parmenter from Springton to Greenbrier, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to committee of.
There's just a typo in resolution 2024-45. It's not $176,000 pages. It's just pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that in the memo or is that in the
dollar
resolution?
sign shouldn't be there.
Okay, can you help show me on the screen?
Oh, it's in the,
In the red
it's
line.
in the
Oh,
agenda summary sheet. It's not in the
It's not
resolution.
in the resolution
Yeah,
itself.
there is a typo in that summary,
Yeah.
but not in the resolution.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Fine. Thank you.
excellent catch there. I feel like
Robert's here.
I'm just thinking that, see, our new councilmen are on top of it.
Dollar bills.
I love it.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Okay, we want to make sure we're prudent, so I appreciate that. All right, moving on to committee appointments. The appointment of Rashika Kamal to the library board. Do I have a motion?
Mrs. Crowe, I'll make that motion to approve Rashika Kamal to the library board.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Mrs. Wilkus, I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of approving the appointment of Rashika Kamal to the library board, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Appointment of Spencer Lyons to Youth Commission. Do I have a motion?
Schaefer moves.
Do I have a second?
Crow seconds.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the appointment of Spencer Lyons to Youth Commission, please say aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Then we move to convene into closed session. And do we need to take a vote on that? A roll call?
Yes, somebody has to move in second, and then I'll take a roll call vote.
Schaefer will move.
Second. Focus.
Okay, Alder Schaefer,
Yes.
Alder Wokus.
Yes.
Alder Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Kuhn,
Yes.
Alder Nelson,
Yes.
Alder Jackson,
Yes.
Alder Lorman,
Yes.
Alder Haniro,
Yes.
Alder Crow.
Yes.
Okay, we will be convening into closed session.